Well, hello. This is my video response to the question, how do you draw a pit? And basically what I have here is a 10 by 10, there you go, 10 by 10 with a corridor that is burrowing through the background dirt here. Obviously this needs some masks there in order to look like it's not, there is no shadow coming off the walls there. Don't want that, of course, in the end. But anyway, that's not why we're here. We're here because I have an idea of how you might want to go about doing your fire pit. Now, the fire pit requires, in my opinion, which is very much a, a layman's opinion, and this is going to be borderline mansplaining, but I like that. I like diving head first into to things I don't necessarily know too much about and see what I can come up with in under 10 minutes. So I reckon that we need a lava bit for the lava. I reckon that we also need a lava 2 sheet. I reckon that we also need a pit. And I reckon that we also need a pit shadow thing. I have given this some thought, so this is not just me coming up with things like I'm a pro or anything to that effect. Anyway, I tried for 10 minutes and this is what I came up with. Lava sheet activated. Let's do red and let's take the fractal tool there for a nice irregular shape. So yeah, this I'm not happy with that one actually. Way too much. Let's actually do the polygons there, the straight polygon. So right, so we draw our shape. This here is the foundation of our lava pit, right there. Now we have a lava pit and we have a chasm supposedly. So basically, what we want to do next is draw the side or the slope of the thing, and then we go to the pit sheet, which is conveniently right underneath the lava bit. And the reason for that, of course, is drumroll. Let's do 245 gray. The reason for that, of course, is that the lava should needs to be seen on top of the of the sides or the slopes, really of the chasm here. So yeah, that's a very basic egg, very bizarre egg, I should think, but it is something to start with. It is something to begin with. Next up is giving this side of the pit the sensation of belonging, and we have a nice background which gives us some texture. Let's work with that. This looks like it could be rock, right? It kind of looks like a rocky background, and let's give it we could probably tone up the brightness of the rock, I guess. But yeah, basically transparency there to give it some rocky texture and feel to it. Everything else here is brown dirt. This is now gray dirt. That could well be interpreted as rock. We move swiftly then to the pit shadow, which is sitting on top of both the lava and the side of the pit. I don't know if that's a requirement, but there it is. Now the pit shadow is going to have a slightly darker, because shadow is right, darker gray. And the idea here is basically that you want to create the effect that light is coming from below. So the other way around, of course, a pit usually turns darker the more the further down you go, right? That's the normal, that's the standard procedure of the pit. Pit procedures dictate that that's the way you go about it. Now, obviously, I can't be deleting nodes because I'm using the tools here, but you get the idea. Anywho, so that's something there. It doesn't look very nice, doesn't look too awful. I think it's turning into a nice 70s children's book, perhaps, adaptation of dungeon questing. Anywho, so it's brighter below and it's darker towards the edge because that's what we want, for sure. We want that with our thing here. So again, we turn to transparency to create the sensation that there's texture here, and not only is there texture, but there's absolutely something telling us that the further away from the red stuff we get, the darker it gets. So that's nice. You may want to work with blur as well. I think is probably going to be nice just for the blending blending quality there. It will blend with the underlying pit sheet. So that's going to be a pit sheet, and that's going to be a pit shadow sheet. So that's the pit sheet in effect, and then we turn on the pit shadow effect, and then it's time to move on real quick to the fire bit. Then we got a lava thing going on here at the very bottom, and it's nice because we don't want the fire. We don't want too much transparency on this one, I think, because obviously then it will show that there is a bottom, and I don't think that you necessarily want the dirt bottom on your lava. I think that might not be working too well. So there we go, a bit of a blur. I think, yeah, that's probably going to be mentioned as well in the comments. I think already has been mentioned. Bit of a blur there. Let's move on to the second lava sheet, where I will want to place my highlighting of stuff, driving home the bright fiery death sensation of what lies below. Some odd shapes there, perhaps mixing in some other shades of yellow just for the heck of it. These, to pick up on the red below, of course, can be giving a varying degree of. Already it looks, with the effects turned off again, I think this looks really nice. So there you go, we got the blur effect giving a bit of a shiny thing, especially with the yellow bit on top there. If we were to do anything about that, perhaps adding some transparency, that looks kind of cool, I think. Maybe some blur. There we go. So yeah, I'm gonna say A for effort on the as far as the lava bit goes. That was easy to do. It's going to be trickier, I think, to turn the pit in itself, to turn the pit into something that works. Perhaps you could work with contour lines here, just to really keep it in line with whatever wall you've got going, making it seem like there's a seamless opening here with the chasm extending from where the what's it called again? The corridor ends. So you could perhaps even move into drawing on top of your wall sheet. You could be drawing quote unquote rock and giving that a contour to break up the tiles of the because again, I think this is perhaps not nearly as jagged as it should be. You could well take a tool and draw following the contours of the outermost stones, if that's the floor tile that you're using, and then of course will give the illusion that it has been broken up, because this is a very surgical cut altogether. So I would want perhaps the rock to invade perhaps a little more on top of the wall there. But altogether, this is the fiery pit of doom, and yeah, some contours there to work out the shapes of the rock on the way down to the fiery death. This is how I would do it in under 10 minutes. Bye.